You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Pretty excited about that. Heck, even Mississippi State and Southern Miss could get my attention. Week 2 is a little bit less than that. Week 2 has Ole Miss and Kentucky being the only conference game of the week and one of the best probably 3 games of the weekend in the SEC. So pay attention to that. Starting off in week 2, San Jose State is at Texas. Texas is a 35.5-point favorite. If Texas doesn't score the ball any better than they did Saturday, San Jose State's going to cover that line, honestly. But Texas should be able to run the football. I figure Arch is going to get going a little bit. Arch has not had a problem against bad teams ever. So I figure that this time next week, Texas will be back again. Utah State is at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 30.5-point favorite. The game's at 12:45 Eastern on the SEC Network. It's a game Texas A&M did not cover last week against UT San Antonio. I don't know that they'll cover this week. I know that their running game is solid. Casey Concepcion had a pretty good day. Keep an eye on Texas A&M, but also Texas 8-4 could make an appearance. ETSU at Tennessee. That's a no-line game. That's on the SEC Network Plus at 3:30. We'll see exactly how that looks. The game that everybody here cares about is Ole Miss, favored by 9.5 points at Kentucky. The game is at 3:30 Eastern Time on ABC. It is the game of the week because it is a conference game, but it is not the game of the week because it's supposed to be a very good game. Now, the line, I get why the line is as low as it is, because Lane Kiffin, for whatever reason, has not blown out Mark Stoops at all. A couple of years ago, they went to Lexington. They won like 41-40 on an extra point that got missed at the end by Kentucky. In 2022, you had the Jared Ivey sack play with them going in. It was a one-score game. In 2024, we all realize what happened. There's been one-score games every time. Last year, Ole Miss was favored by 18 or 19 points in the game, and you saw what happened. That explains why the line is where it is. I do think that if the offense that we saw, and if they protect Austin Simmons, this offense can be pretty effective for Ole Miss. Austin Simmons had a day for Kentucky. Kentucky had trouble scoring the ball against the Toledo Rockets last week. They won 24-16 in Zach Calzada's debut. Georgia is hosting Austin Peay in a no-line game. Kansas is at Missouri. Missouri's favored by 6.5 points. This is one of the more underrated rivalries in all of college football. Check this game out on a split screen. I know it's on during the Ole Miss game, but Kansas and Missouri is always fun. There's some deep-seated hatred that goes back years in regards to this rivalry, and it is carried over. South Florida, off of a recent blowout of Boise State, is an 18.5-point underdog at the University of Florida. The game's at 4:15 Eastern Time on the SEC Network. Listen, we don't know what to expect from Florida. They blew out Long Island, but we don't know anything about Long Island. South Florida, pretty good team. That might be too many points. I am not sure about that right now. And Arkansas State versus Arkansas. Arkansas State and Arkansas have never played sports together at any level, and they're only doing it now because they were legislatively mandated to do it. The game is in War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock, Arkansas. Arkansas is favored by 21.5 points. South Carolina State is at South Carolina in a no-line game. Arizona State's only favored by 6.5 points at Mississippi State. Mississippi State got the big win, and it was a big win over South Carolina, or Southern Mississippi, I should say, in week 1. The game's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. La Tech is at LSU. LSU's favored by 37.5 points. Games on 7:30 at night on the SEC Network Plus. Ball State is at Auburn. Auburn's favored by 43.5 points. That's way too many points, honestly. The game is at 7:30 on ESPNU. And Michigan is at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's favored by 5.5 points. The game's at 7:30 on ABC. Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech, the line hasn't come out yet, but I'm assuming that Virginia Tech will probably be favored by somewhere between 3 and 5 points. And ULM is at Alabama. They have to take the whipping that is coming their way, likely paying back for Florida State beating Alabama. Alabama is favored by 38.5 points. If Kalen DeBoer does not win this game, he will probably not make it to midnight of what's going on. So we'll see exactly how that goes. I'm curious of how it is all going to look, indeed. Anyway, thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your go-to source for Ole Miss sports. We pride ourselves on offering the most comprehensive perspectives, which is why we are the front door of Ole Miss. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment. It helps the show, and it is completely free. Your support means the world to us. In another big moment for Locked On, college football fans, Locked On and Fire TV are presenting College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A Locked On college football preview that only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Hotty Toddy, everybody. Have a great Labor Day. And remember, analytics is just the old English word that means bad football. We'll see you tomorrow.